Ground fault circuit interrupter protection for personnel is required for receptacles installed in non-dwelling kitchens that are part of dwelling units. A non-dwelling kitchen is defined as a room or space within a building used for food preparation, cooking, or dishwashing where the room or space is not intended primarily for residential occupancy. Now let's consider concession stands in an athletic arena. These stands are not part of dwelling units, and they are used for food preparation such as popcorn and pretzels. Therefore, according to the National Electrical Code, these would be considered non-dwelling kitchens. Based on this definition, the receptacles in a concession stands in the athletic arena are required to have ground fault circuit interrupter protection according to National Electrical Code Section 210.8b. The fact that sinks and receptacle outlets are closely located does not affect the requirement for ground fault circuit interrupter protection. Section 210.8b applies to all non-dwelling kitchens regardless of their size or purpose. Consider the specific wording of 210.8b, which addresses receptacles installed in non-dwelling kitchens. The key is understanding what constitutes a non-dwelling kitchen. The National Electrical Code definition emphasizes the usage of the space for food preparation, cooking, or dishwashing, and crucially, that the space is not primarily intended for residential occupancy. In the case of athletic arena concession stands, these areas are clearly used for food preparation. They typically include equipment like popcorn makers, pretzel warmers, and potentially other appliances for preparing and serving food to patrons. Equally important is the fact that these concession stands are not part of a dwelling unit. They are located within a commercial setting, specifically an athletic arena, and are intended for commercial purposes, serving the public attending events at the arena. Therefore, based on the National Electrical Code definition and the actual usage of these concession stands, they unequivocally fall under the category of non-dwelling kitchens. Consequently, the receptacles within these concession stands are subject to the ground fault circuit interrupter protection requirements outlined in National Electrical Code Section 210.8b. The close proximity of sinks and receptacles, while an important safety consideration, is not the determining factor in this particular case. The primary factor is the classification of the area as a non-dwelling kitchen. Even if the receptacles were not located near sinks, the ground fault circuit interrupter protection requirement would still apply due to the area being a non-dwelling kitchen. It's also crucial to understand that the size or specific purpose of the non-dwelling kitchen does not affect the ground fault circuit interrupter protection requirement. Whether it's a large commercial kitchen in a restaurant or a small concession stand in an athletic arena, if it meets the definition of a non-dwelling kitchen, the ground fault circuit interrupter protection requirements apply. The purpose of ground fault circuit interrupter protection is to protect personnel from electrical shock. In a kitchen environment, where water and electrical appliances are often used in close proximity, the risk of electrical shock is heightened. Ground fault circuit interrupters are designed to detect even small imbalances in electrical current, which can indicate a ground fault, and to quickly interrupt the circuit, preventing a potentially dangerous electrical shock. Compliance with National Electrical Code Section 210.8b is essential for ensuring the safety of workers and patrons in athletic arena concession stands. It's the responsibility of electrical contractors, facility managers, and other relevant parties to understand and adhere to these requirements. Failure to comply with these requirements can result in electrical hazards and potential injuries. The National Electrical Code is a comprehensive set of standards for electrical wiring and equipment. It's updated regularly to reflect new technologies and best practices for electrical safety. It's important for electrical professionals to stay up to date on the latest National Electrical Code requirements to ensure that their work is safe and compliant. Ground fault circuit interrupters are readily available and relatively inexpensive. They can be installed in new construction or retrofitted into existing electrical systems. The installation of ground fault circuit interrupters is a simple and effective way to improve electrical safety in non-dwelling kitchens. In summary, the receptacles in the concession stands of an athletic arena are considered to be installed in non-dwelling kitchens and are required to be ground fault circuit interrupter protected. per National Electrical Code Section 210.8b. This is due to the area being used for food preparation and not intended for residential occupancy. Close proximity to sinks does not change the ground fault circuit interrupter requirement. The size and purpose of the kitchen is not a factor either. Ground fault circuit interrupter protection is a critical safety measure to protect personnel from electrical shock. Understanding and complying with National Electrical Code requirements is essential for electrical safety. Let's delve deeper into the specifics of applying National Electrical Code Section 210.8b to athletic arena concession stands. Imagine a typical concession stand setup. It likely includes a variety of electrical appliances such as popcorn machines, pretzel warmers, refrigerators, and possibly even small cooking appliances. These appliances are essential for providing food and beverages to attendees. Each of these appliances requires a receptacle to connect to the electrical system. National Electrical Code Section 210.8b mandates that these receptacles, being located in a non-dwelling kitchen, must be ground fault circuit interrupter protected. This means that the receptacles themselves must be ground fault circuit interrupter receptacles, or they must be supplied by a circuit that is protected by a ground fault circuit interrupter circuit breaker. A ground fault circuit interrupter receptacle is a special type of receptacle that has built-in ground fault protection. It has a test and reset button on the face of the receptacle. A ground fault circuit interrupter circuit breaker is a circuit breaker that provides ground fault protection for the entire circuit. It is installed in the electrical panel. When a ground fault is detected, the ground fault circuit interrupter device, whether it's a receptacle or a circuit breaker, will quickly interrupt the flow of electricity, preventing a potential electrical shock. The National Electrical Code does not specify whether ground fault circuit interrupter receptacles or ground fault circuit interrupter circuit breakers must be used in non-dwelling kitchens. The choice is left to the discretion of the electrical contractor or installer, depending on the specific circumstances of the installation. However, it's important to ensure that the chosen method provides adequate ground fault protection for all of the receptacles in a non-dwelling kitchen. In addition to the receptacles for appliances, concession stands often have receptacles for other purposes, such as powering cash registers or other electronic equipment. These receptacles are also subject to the ground fault circuit interrupter protection requirements of National Electrical Code Section 210.8b. It's important to consider all of the receptacles in the concession stand when determining the ground fault circuit interrupter protection requirements. Another important consideration is the wiring method used in the concession stand. The National Electrical Code specifies different wiring methods for different types of occupancies. The wiring method used in the concession stand must be appropriate for a commercial setting and must be installed in accordance with the National Electrical Code requirements. Furthermore, the electrical system in the concession stand must be properly grounded. Grounding is essential for electrical safety. It provides a path for fault current to flow back to the source, which helps to trip the circuit breaker and prevent electrical shock. The grounding system must be installed in accordance with the National Electrical Code requirements. Regular inspections and maintenance of the electrical system in the concession stand are also essential. This includes checking the ground fault circuit interrupter devices to ensure that they are functioning properly, and inspecting the wiring and connections for any signs of damage or deterioration. Any problems should be corrected promptly to prevent electrical hazards. It's also important to educate employees who work in the concession stand about electrical safety. They should be trained to recognize potential electrical hazards and to take appropriate precautions to prevent electrical shocks. This includes avoiding the use of damaged or frayed electrical cords, and never touching electrical equipment with wet hands. By following these guidelines, it's possible to ensure that the electrical system in athletic arena concession stands is safe and compliant with the National Electrical Code requirements. The goal is to provide a safe environment for workers and patrons, and to prevent electrical accidents. Let's now consider some specific scenarios and how National Electrical Code Section 210.8b would apply. Scenario 1. A small concession stand with only a popcorn machine and a pretzel warmer. Even though the concession stand is small and only has a few appliances, it still meets the definition of a non-dwelling kitchen. Therefore, all of the receptacles in the concession stand must be ground fault circuit interrupter protected. Scenario 2, a larger concession stand with a variety of appliances including a refrigerator, a microwave oven, and a coffee maker. In this case, all of the receptacles for these appliances must be ground fault circuit interrupter protected. Additionally, any receptacles used for other purposes, such as powering a cash register or a point-of-sale system, must also be ground fault circuit interrupter protected. Scenario 3, a concession stand that is located outdoors, such as at a baseball field. In this case, the ground fault circuit interrupter protection requirements are even more stringent. National Electrical Code Section 210.8 requires ground fault circuit interrupter protection for all 125 volts, 15 amps and 20 amps receptacles that are located outdoors. This is because the risk of electrical shock is higher outdoors due to the presence of moisture and other environmental factors. Therefore, in addition to the ground fault circuit interrupter protection required by National Electrical Code Section 210.8b for non-dwelling kitchens, all of the 125 volts, 15 amps and 20 amps receptacles in the outdoor concession stand must also be ground fault circuit interrupter protected under National Electrical Code Section 210.8a. Scenario 4, a concession stand that is located in a temporary structure, such as a tent. In this case, the ground fault circuit interrupter protection requirements are the same as for a permanent structure. All of the receptacles in the temporary concession stand must be ground fault circuit interrupter protected in accordance with National Electrical Code Section 210.8b. It's important to note that the National Electrical Code is a minimum standard. It's always permissible to exceed the National Electrical Code requirements if desired. For example, an electrical contractor may choose to install ground fault circuit interrupter protection on all of the receptacles in a concession stand, even if it's not specifically required by the National Electrical Code. This would provide an extra level of safety for workers and patrons. In conclusion, National Electrical Code Section 210.8b requires ground fault circuit interrupter protection for all receptacles in non-dwelling kitchens. This includes concession stands in athletic arenas. The purpose of ground fault circuit interrupter protection is to protect personnel from electrical shock. Compliance with the National Electrical Code requirements is essential for ensuring electrical safety. By understanding the National Electrical Code requirements and implementing appropriate safety measures, it's possible to create a safe environment for workers and patrons in athletic arena concession stands. Let's not forget that electrical safety is a shared responsibility. It's the responsibility of electrical contractors, facility managers, business owners, and employees to work together to ensure that electrical systems are safe and compliant with the National Electrical Code. By working together, we can prevent electrical accidents and create a safer environment for everyone. Always consult with a qualified electrical contractor for specific guidance on electrical installations and safety requirements. The information provided here is for educational purposes only and should not be considered a substitute for professional electrical advice. Electrical codes and regulations can be complex, and it's essential to have a thorough understanding of them before performing any electrical work. A qualified electrical contractor can assess the specific circumstances of your situation and provide tailored recommendations to ensure safety and compliance. Furthermore, remember that electrical work can be dangerous if not performed properly. Always follow safety precautions and take necessary steps to protect yourself from electrical shock. If you are not comfortable performing electrical work yourself, it's best to hire a qualified electrical contractor to do the job. Investing in electrical safety is an investment in the well-being of yourself, your employees, and your customers. It's a responsible decision that can prevent accidents and save lives. The National Electrical Code serves as a crucial guide for ensuring electrical safety in a wide range of settings, including the often overlooked concession stands in athletic arenas. By understanding and adhering to its requirements, we can create a safer environment for everyone. And let's keep in mind that electrical safety is not just about compliance with codes and regulations, it's about a commitment to protecting human life and preventing unnecessary accidents.